spotting episode number 4, where I continue my fascinating exploration of trees in Lalbagh Gardens with Vijay Thiruvady. Take my word for it, today is a very special episode. Firstly, this is Vijay's favorite tree. That counts for a lot. Secondly, there is a lot of mystery around this tree. There are still several aspects to this tree that remain unexplained to the world's scientists, and we're hoping you will help us find answers to some of the tough questions that Vijay raises. And thirdly, it's a fascinating story. So if you're ready, let's go on a mystery walk with Vijay.
You're about to hear the most extraordinary story in botany that I have heard of, which I'm going to tell you about now. In 1896, a Bengali gentleman in Calcutta brought a branch of a tree and gave it to Dr. Prane, who was director of the Botanic Gardens there. Now, this Bengali gentleman gave him this branch which had a number of leaves. The leaves are the same leaves of the tree you see behind me and above me. And Mr. Prane had never seen these leaves, and he was in a sense stunned with all the knowledge available that these trees had not been seen, that it was growing in India, and somehow they missed it. So he asked the Bengali gentleman, "Can you show me the tree from which these leaves come?" The Bengali gentleman was very possessive of the tree which he had, and he told Mr. Prane something which seemed like Oriental mumbo jumbo. He said, "It's a banyan tree where the leaves' shape has been changed by the good Lord Rama or Krishna, so that the leaves are turned back where the petiole ends and they form pockets or jars behind. This is where the Bengali gentleman said, Child Krishna would store his stolen butter."
Here's some context. David Crane was a Scottish botanist who spent over 20 years studying the plant life of India.
He wrote the classic Bengal Plants that studied and documented all the plants they could find in Bengal. The late 19th century was a time when extensive field studies of Indian flora were being conducted by expert botanists.
So it is actually very strange, almost mysterious, that he had no idea at all about the existence of this tree in Bengal.
Botanically, the initial interest was that Prane and others had noticed that this is similar to the pitcher plant, but the pitcher plant has the leaves turned round in front. Here, the leaves turned round behind. Mr. Prane was not given any idea of where the tree was. So his dialogue and some of these leaves which he got from that branch were sent to Anne Casimir de Candolle in Geneva, who was one of the world's great experts in botany. He had a good look at it. He said, I don't know which tree it has come from, but from your dialogue, we'll call it Ficus Krishnae.
Ficus Krishnae.
Yes.
Okay, some more context. Anne Casimir Caldone was a third generation Swiss botanist who was considered a leading authority of his time on plant taxonomy.
His grandfather, a contemporary of the great Alexander von Humboldt, had developed the idea of nature's war, which influenced Charles Darwin and the principle of natural selection. He also published the Elementary Theory of Botany in 1813, which introduced a new plant classification system and the word taxonomy. The Candolles also wrote a path-breaking book on phytogeography, on the geographic distribution of plants. And despite trying to classify all the world's seed plants over 3 generations, they had not ever seen our mystery fig tree. So for him, it would have been entirely appropriate to suggest the name Ficus Krishnae based on local mythology, which remains the official name of the tree in botanical literature.
In 1901, Prane had managed to grow 2 or 3 of these trees in Calcutta. One was sent to Kew Gardens to be grown under glass. And first reference to this tree, books on Indian flora, has been only in 1910. So it's obviously a mutation with the Bengali gentleman found in his garden of the banyan, if he were correct about it being connected with the banyan.
Why do you keep referring to the Bengali gentleman? Doesn't he have a name? Why do you keep referring to the Bengali gentleman? Doesn't he have a name?
No, it's not recorded anywhere. When an Englishman records anything, he doesn't give you the Indian's name. most of the botanical art done in India, there's no name at all to the artist who's done it.
That's a story for another day.
This tree did not evince any interest among botanists right up to 1935. Then botanists decided to study the tree since they were still not clear whether it was a separate species or a variant and a mutation of the banyan tree, Ficus bengalensis. Now, do you know how trees are propagated?
Well, through seeds, I guess.
Yes.
You can also do cutting examples, right? You can take a cutting of a tree and propagate it.
Right. Well, these are the two the botanists who decided to study the tree worked on.
Okay.
They got hold of cuttings. You just cut a branch of this tree, so you get about 2 or 3 feet. Then you put it into the ground and nurture it. After a few months, new leaves will sprout. That means it's worked. And now you're going to have another Ficus Krishnae.
Okay.
But the extraordinary thing is, when you get a Ficus Krishnae through a cutting, all the leaves have a pocket or jar behind.
Okay.
Now, if you prepare the ground, get the figs or berries, which have seeds inside them, and put it into the ground, and then you try and get some new saplings, 10% of the saplings will have the pocket only, and the rest will be like the banyan.
So if you propagate it through a cutting,
Yes,
you are very likely to get a pocket.
yes,
But if you propagate it through a seed, just 10% of those new
yes,
plants.
yes.
Wow.
This is the extraordinary part of it, that the same parent generates 2 different kinds of leaves in 2 different plants, which are grown through seed or through a cutting. In Lalbagh, we've got 2 trees, one which I call the straight single bole tree, which is to my left, and another tree here which seems like it's a number of trees because of the separate vertical trunk. Now, there are 1 or 2 fascinating things I've noticed here. The larger tree with seemingly 4 or 5 trunks, all of the tree has only leaves with a single pocket or jar. There is no variation, it is a single open pocket or jar. Coming to the single trunk tree, I've noticed an extraordinary thing which hasn't been noted in archival material or on books on botany or journals which I've read. You want to know what it is?
Yeah, sure. Is it in the tree or in the leaf?
It's in the leaf.
Shall I just get one?
Yes.
The leaf looks similar to me.
Yes, but turn it round. This tree and only this tree, to my knowledge,
Just a minute. It's got a. Oh.
It's got a joint at where the stalk or the petiole ends, making it 2 pockets instead of 1.
Wow.
This is the only tree I've heard of in material that I've read, which has this characteristics of 2 pockets. The single pocket or jar is referred to regularly in literature, but this particular specific tree produces both leaves with 2 pockets and some jars also, some leaves with jars, open jars. Both these are from the same tree, and the majority of these leaves do have this double pocket. Petiole or stalk doesn't, where it turns into the leaf, doesn't straight away turn around to the back and form the open jar. It extends a little more, and then there is a kind of joint, and then it turns back and forms 2 pockets and not a single pocket.
In 2022, a double pocketed leaf of a variant of the banyan tree called the Ficus Krishnae has been observed in Lalbagh Botanical Gardens, Bangalore by Vijay Thiruvady. And we are welcoming suggestions, ideas, and theories from botanists and amateurs around the world to explain why this happens only in this one tree, and if they have observed it in any other tree of this species anywhere in the world. Do let us know. So this is fascinating, and so to all those of you who are interested in doing some path-breaking botanical research, here is a field of study you could consider. So Vijay, is this one tree or many?
What do you think?
Well, if you hadn't told me or given me the hint, I would have said at least three trees or four. But now that you made me think, one tree, but still not clear. Could you
It's
explain how?
actually a single tree,
Mm-hmm,
and there are a lot of trunks, vertical and sloping,
mm-hmm,
outside the heart of the original tree. But you will see that all these other trunks
mm-hmm.
are connected to the mother trunk. Just like in a banyan, all the prop roots and new trunks are connected, to the original banyan trunk.
So is this also like the banyan where it propagates through aerial roots?
No, it's not. There are aerial roots here, quite a few of them, but they never reach the ground.
This doesn't reach the ground.
No, none of them will reach the ground. They're all over, but they never reach the ground, like in a banyan.
So how does it work then? How did that?
Well, I have a theory.
So Vijay has a theory, and probably you have one too. And so rather than tell you what Vijay's theory is, we're going to leave some time for you to think the theory and let us know. How does this tree propagate itself when its aerial roots don't touch the ground? I hope you found today's mystery trail interesting. We've covered about 6 or 7 mysteries so far, starting with mystery number 1. Why didn't the world's botanists know of this tree as late as 1896? It had been almost 100 years of exploration in India by very well-renowned botanists on fieldwork. That's the mystery. The second mystery is who was the Bengali gentleman? As Vijay says, the name is never mentioned. Third mystery, is this a new species or a variant of the existing banyan? This is rather important for botanists. It's still a mystery. Coming to mystery number 4, how can one tree produce two kinds of quite inexplicable. I've never seen one like that. And when I asked Vijay, he said he hasn't either. Mystery number 5. How is it that there is one tree in Lalbagh that is producing leaves with two pockets? Is it the only tree in the world? Has nobody else noticed it? And the last mystery is, if this tree has aerial roots, why don't they ever reach the ground? And if they don't reach the ground, how does the tree propagate? Please send in your theories and answers by writing on the comment section below, or you can mail us at BangaloreWALKS@gmail.com. I will see you again in part 2 of the mystery fig tree. Bye bye.